There's a lot of information there.
Mm.
There's a lot of different little little problems. The first thing I think to understand is that most people don't realize the difference between action and inaction. It's action to act and do something, and inaction to not do something. And the importance is that if you act and you do something, you have feedback, information to work with. And if you don't act, you don't have anything to work with. You don't have
Mm.
any information at all. You don't have any feedback. You don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea in general. Now, some people will argue that, well, we know because of past experience what a good idea and a bad idea is. And that's true if you tried something specifically in your past, but at the same time, we have to remember that new ideas have to be treated differently, and sometimes what didn't work in the past can work in the present because it was tried in the wrong way at the wrong time. And people always want to say, "Oh, if you had done that, then everything would be perfect." And that's rubbish. That's nonsense because you can't know. You can't ever know what the other road is. Maybe you maybe you changed and maybe you maybe you didn't invest in a company and maybe you died in a car crash the next day, right?
Mm.
You know, right? It's impossible to say that something in the past should have been different and that is better. We just
Mm.
don't have enough information to say. We can say, well, if we didn't have World War II, the world would be a better place. We don't know.
Mm.
Maybe we would have had a bigger war that destroyed everything. We don't know.
Mm.
So this idea that inaction or doing nothing is is in some way positive is is a kind of fear. It's a fear of
Mm.
change. It's a fear of the future. It's a fear to embrace all of the possibilities. It's also very limiting. And I think I've said this before. We don't want to limit ourselves
Mm.
because uh, because who wants less of what's good? We all want more of what's good. And when we start limiting ourselves, we don't know, and you don't know what the path is going to be. You don't know you don't know what the girl or guy is like until you date them. You have to go out on a date with them, and then you find out what they're like, right? And it's the
Mm.
same in the business process. Somebody will give you a sales pitch. It's like, oh yes, Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore, I think is the guitarist from
Yes,
Deep.
it
Okay.
it is a Richie Blackmore front
Yeah, and
end.
yeah, yeah, and he's got the Richie Blackmore band, and they do all the folklore and traditional music, and
Yes, 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 yes.
they have sort of melody. It's soft, nice music for candlelit areas and places. Is a very unique
Mm.
niche genre. Um, Now, castles have big spaces and need sound equipment, right?
Mm.
So there is opportunity there. I think we have to be careful that people don't want just something for nothing. Be they have to be seen to be active, doing something for the brand, and what that means is actually doing something every single day. Because if it's not in your day, it's not in your life, and so I think it's necessary that a person is if you are giving them something, it's necessary that they're promoting you every single day. And that might seem like a lot from their perspective, but it's not, because every day counts, every advert counts,
Mm.
every marketing post counts. It all adds up, and it doesn't cost people a lot to do it. It maybe takes 2 to 3 minutes of their time if they can do it, if they have a system that which they can
Mhm.
set up. So I don't think it's asking too much of a person. I mean, I follow, oh, Gerard Adams is a business. He's an entrepreneur businessman, and he is sponsored by. He had created a couple of large businesses, sold them for millions and millions, and he then formed partnerships with different hotels and different fashion houses. And he's also got partnership with Boss. They do speakers, I think. Is it BOSE? Bosse. They
Mhm.
do amplifiers and speakers, yeah. And he's
Yes.
got a partnership with those. And every day he does 2 or 3 social media posts across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other platforms. And he's got their products in his posts. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's got their products. So it's a picture of him doing something, but in the picture are the
Mm.
products of those companies.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Did there's a lot of trust there. You know what's in my mind? My mind's screaming emails. My mind is screaming. What we want is not pictures of concerts. What we want is email addresses of the people going to the concerts, so that we can contact those people directly and market towards them and their interests. I don't know. That's just in the back of my mind that per event you'd want 20 to 50 emails of people who attended the event that you can then directly contact with the marketing, um, because that's real people, and
Mhm.
you have contact with the people, and it's more tangible because they can be added to lists, and you can see you can get the information out to people. Of course, they have to be real email addresses.
Mm.
But that you have to begin somewhere. So that's where I think that the difference is, because the most of the successful online marketing is done through building of lists of email addresses and contacting people. So
Mm.
that would that would be, I think, an important part of that. Um, I, I don't know. I think that you did the right thing, because you, well, let's do nothing and see if that has a positive effect. You can't not be yourselves, right? You can't not be husband and wife. It's the bond that bond is the strongest bond. It's
Mm.
it's stronger than death, right? Till death us do
Mm.
part is a bond stronger than death. And uh, in the Christian perspective, the idea is that you will be together again in heaven, and but your company won't be there, right? Uh, okay, radical solution: give him more freedom.
Mm.
The reason why is that he can take as much free time from work as he wants, and you get to see how that time productively affects the company. If he can take a lot of free time from work and it doesn't affect the company, then his productivity is very low. My my mother is hyperactive. My father is hyper passive. Um, Now, I think I made the point earlier. It's very difficult to argue about what is good and what is bad in certain situations. All we have is what is.
Mm.
Yeah. And everyone can say, oh, You know, if I had made a different choice in the past, my life would be a different road. And yeah, maybe it would be a different road. Maybe you drown in a swimming accident. Maybe you crash in a plane. Maybe you fall out of a tree and hit your head. I'd go, who knows, right?
Mm.
Um, but as a result of my mother being hyperactive and my father being hyper passive, my mother pushes my father to do a lot of things. A lot of things which she sees are necessary. The result of this is a lowering of my father's productivity because
Mhm.
the more she pushes, the more he waits.
Mhm.
And the end result is that he doesn't do anything without her asking for it. And she believes that he wouldn't do anything at all if she didn't ask him.
Mm.
That's the end of the road.